So I went from sketchy to super sketchy. Hey everyone, welcome. What you just saw was the result of me struggling for the last couple of weeks with the temperatures on the hard drives in my unRAID server. The hard drives were reaching temperatures of almost 60 degrees Celsius. So I was tinkering with my server for the most spare time that I had and to see if I could get those temperatures down to an acceptable level. And I failed in every attempt. You all know, if you watch the videos on this whole unRAID server story, because it's almost a video series now, that I've installed this ICDock Black Vortex, which is a hot swappable drive gauge for 4 hard drives in 2020, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, it cools the hard drives, it blows fresh air over the drives and hot air into my server case. And it was working pretty well, but not for lately. No. Temperatures have gone up outside, so also in my house. And this house is, not air conditioned. So the temperatures can reach up to 30, 32 degrees Celsius. So at those levels, the server is getting hot as well. And I don't have an airco unit, a climate control system to cool my servers, etc. So all needs to be done with the room temperature. Yeah, so it was getting a little bit hot, and I took those drives out of their enclosure, so out of this Black Vortex, and installed them into this bracket you see now. And that one can house 4 hard drives. It's an internal storage bay from this Shenbro server chassis, of which I also did a video. And I will link all those videos in the video description. If you haven't seen them and you want to check them out, please see the video description for details on those videos. So I installed them onto that. I removed this Black Vortex, installed the drive gauge again, and came to the conclusion that it was interfering with the RAM modules on my motherboard. So I have 64 GB of RAM in the server, and one of those 4 modules I use, so 4 times 16 GB, one of those modules was in the way of the SATA control connector that goes into the hard drive. So I removed the drive gauge, I disassembled the hard drive from the drive gauge, installed some really janky brackets. I was looking for an example here, but you will see it in the video, to mount them in a 5¼ inch bay. And yeah, that was working pretty good, but I also was interfering with the CPU cooler, which is a Noctua, and it has a push-pull system. And now it only has a pull system. Yeah, no push system. No, because the push fan, this one from Noctua, I also disassembled this so I could install the hard drives into the internal drive gauge. The CPU was already running pretty hot with only these 2 coolers and some intake fans from Delta. But I figured, well, maybe if I install a intake fan that blows over the hard drives onto the Noctua and outside the case, the temperatures would be acceptable. And they are, pretty much. And the hard drives also, I might add. Because the hard drives now, and let's have a look at that. So what you see in the background is the dashboard of my unRAID server. And you can see it, I have 1 parity drive and 3 member drives, all spinning Rust and 1 caching SSD. The other SSDs you see here and 1 hard drive are just pass-through drives for VMs and Dockers and that kind of stuff. So those are not my concern, the ones on top are. And if we have a look on disk 3, I will show you what I mean. Because if we scroll down now, you can see that it reached a max temperature of 59 degrees Celsius. That's pretty hot. Too hot, if you ask me. So, hard drives spinning Rust like this, I would say 50 degrees it should stop. Otherwise, it will not have a long life in your server. My intention was to use these drives at least 5 years and upgrade them along the way with more drives and expand the array and the capacity of my NAS for that matter. And with temperatures like that, that's not going to happen. No. We can also have a look on the other hard drives, disk 1 for example, not as high, but still 54 degrees Celsius. That's also too hot for my liking. So that's why I did the sketchy setup with removing the CPU fan the IC Black Vortex, and yeah, installed it onto the internal drive bay. So it's not hot swap, and it's not a setup that I want, especially not in the server case that's designed for easy access. No. So that got me thinking, what if I buy another server case? So I started looking for some server cases, and yeah, those are quite expensive. The Shenbro I bought for 70, 80 euros or something like that, but not that much. And the cases I was looking at with hot swap base, at least 8 of them, preferably 10 plus, started at 300 plus euros. I think personally that's pretty expensive for only... And that's this case, and this is from Intertek, and this is the 4U-4410. Yeah, it's a 4U server case, and this can house all of my components. So this is the front of the server. As you can see, it has 10 hot swap drive bays, and it can house 3 5.25 inch devices like SSD caddies, DVD drives, whatever you want to put in these, it can house it as well. It has 2 USB 3.0 or 3.1 connections, and of course the LED indicators as well. And this is the power button. It's a really small power button, and we have a reset button up front as well. Now, if we remove one of these drive caddies, some were complaining that these were a bit flimsy. Well, I have no problems whatsoever with the quality of these. Yeah, the only thing they have to do is house the hard drive, and they will sit in the server like this, or this, yes, and that's it. Yeah, you will not touch them again if all is in good order, of course. So with the lid off, you can see the SATA backplane I was talking about. It powers the drives through these 5 Molex connectors, and on the left, oh, you can see it on the left as well as on the right, there are the SATA connectors. Just plug in the cables, route them through the holes on the bottom to the motherboard, and there we have the 5.25 inch base, which also have some brackets for mounting stuff to it. Yeah, really nice. Of course, with a server case like this, we also have hot swap fans. Really nice. I don't know what the quality of these fans is. Same goes with the back. If they do make quite a lot of noise, or they don't have sufficient cooling for my server, I might replace them in the near future. But we'll have to see how this server performs once we get everything installed into this nice case. Then if we go to the back, you can mount the ATX power supply right there, but we also have some mounting options for some server PSUs. So really nice, they added that as well. Same goes for the standoffs for the motherboard, because they aren't installed at the moment, as you can see. So we will have to do that as well. And some other materials to mount different stuff into the server. Yeah, really nice. This whole server is made out of steel. So yeah, it feels really sturdy. And as I mentioned, in the back we also have 2 80mm fans, if I'm not mistaken. Also, I don't know the brand of these and what the quality of these fans are. But yeah, we will know soon enough once we get the server set up. So yeah, this whole server weighs about 14 kilograms. For a chassis, that's pretty heavy. For a server case, that's not all that heavy. I expect with all the components in, we will exceed the 25 kilograms. But yeah, without further ado, let's get all the hardware out of the old server. I will not record that, but I will record installing everything into this new server. Let's get going with this. and it's making an awful lot of noise. Advanced storage configuration. We have E-. Ah, okay. He says E-. Yeah, that are the hard drives. Those are the hard drives. And we have 3 SSDs, and we have the caching SSD. Let's boot it up. Yes, there it is. And let's see, we have our parity drive, or member drives, and we have our SSD. Really nice. We're gonna start it. Yeah, actually took me a while to build this server case. Yeah, it's not all that convenient to route all the cables. It was a bit of a hassle, and eventually I came to the conclusion that I missed one, or I was one Molex connector short for powering the SATA backplane, power for the hard drives. So I went to the shed and searched the boxes for the missing Molex power cable. Eventually I found it. No, this is taking way too long. It's already started. Okay. It just didn't update. I already filled up these drives to almost 60%. And once this one goes to 75%, it will start filling this one to also 75%. So I want to get some extra hard drives. Probably 10 or 12 terabyte. That will be the parity drive. And then, of course, these 8 terabytes will still have a place in this server. But it could also be that I go with a couple more 8 terabyte drives. Now I have the lid off, and of course you can hear the server in the background. I must say, these 120mm fans that are pushing the hot air from the hard drives to the rest of the case do actually a pretty good job. They move a lot of air. Now the fan noise is a little bit loud compared to the old server, the Shambro server chassis, and of course I did some fan curve tuning with that. That I can do with these exhaust fans as well, the 80mm ones. They have a PWM connector, so we can tweak with that a little. But with the intake fans, I'll have to see how that goes, because it's connected through a Molex connector. There is a header next to that. But I don't know if I can use that for the fan speed. I would assume that would be nice, otherwise why would it be there? But I'll have to look into that because I haven't read the manual, obviously. So yeah, then of course we also have this from ICDoc, as well as the mobile armor for the 2.5-inch drives. I also didn't install this one because I'm not all that happy with the SATA cable management as of now. Because the SATA cables are too long, it's a bit of a mix. So I want to get some new ones for that, and then we can clean that up pretty nicely. And yeah, maybe I will install this drive again, or a normal 3.5-inch drive. This is actually used for the app data backup from my unRAID server, as well as the surveillance footage from the surveillance cameras. So yeah, I'll have to see how I'm going to manage that now without the drive needed for that. Yeah. That will be something for another day. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased that at least my server is up and running again. And yeah, I can manage it and do all my stuff that I need to do with my server. Now, last but not least, I will keep the temperatures of the hard drives in check and see how they perform in this new chassis, as well as the CPU temperature, because that was a little bit high as well. I will keep you guys updated in the next video, probably about this server and maybe my experience. Maybe I will do an experience video about the server, I don't know. I have to see about that. If you have some questions about this server or this video, please leave them down in the comment section. With that being said, I thank you all for watching and see you in the next one. Bye!